Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you are new to me and this is the first time you're seeing my face, hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here because that's what's going to be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in and continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have a recommendation video all on my favorite subgenre of romance, and that is dark mafia romances. Yes, I'm finally making one of these. I fell in love with Mafia Romance about a year ago, and I've been slowly but surely collecting them and reading them and just loving on it. So if you like arranged marriage, captor-captive, BDSM, alpha holes, guys that if you are looked at the wrong way, they go fuck that dude up and then fuck you up. Oh, well, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, because we're going to mattresses. Okay, let me just get this right out there. I'm obsessed with the Mafia. I watch every documentary I could possibly get my hands on. I think I was a gangster's wife in a previous life. I really feel like I was. I don't know why, but I love Mafia and I'm obsessed with this genre. I discovered about a year ago when I took place in the Mafia Romance Readathon, hosted by Jen of the Book Refuge, and I've been pretty much hooked ever since. So I wanted to share with you some recommendations. Actually, the ones I'm sharing with you are the ones that I read for that Mafia Romance Readathon. So these recommendations are the very first dark Mafia romances I've ever read. And they still stand the test of time for me. They still hold a very special place in my heart. And I hope that if you have not read any of them, you will go pick them up. So let's just dive right in. The first one I have is my very, very first. He's my first, guys. He's my first. And that is The Bratva's Baby by Jane Henry. This is the first installment to the Wicked Dom series, and I'd like to introduce you to Casimir. Here he is, guys. Here's the one that opened the fucking floodgates, and there was no stopping me. So this one features Bratva Mafia. We also show a captor-captive romance. We have a tattooed hero, although... Oh yeah, you do see him in here. Yeah, you do see tattoos on him. There you go. Yep, gotta have the ink. It's all right. Gotta have it. This also features Outsider Mafia. We feature Dubious Consent, a surprise baby, and heavy BDSM themes with an emphasis in the theme of subservience. So we follow Casimir and Sadie in this installment. Casimir is the Brigadier General of the Bratva Mafia, which, if you're not familiar with Bratva, it is Russian Mafia. He's the Brigadier General, and he is tasked with kidnapping Sadie, marrying her, taking her inheritance, and getting the fuck rid of her. So what does he do? He kidnaps her. He force marries her. But there's a hiccup. You see, Sadie is this quiet little librarian who just reads historical romances. Not the type of romance that prepares her for what she's about to walk into, but she reads a lot of romances. And they find out that Sadie is not the right girl. So now as Casimir has to get rid of her, he's already started training her. They've already started to form a bond, and chaos ensues from there. And we get a fucking rock solid, awesome fucking story. I had such a great time with this one. This one lives in my heart, permanent place there. He's my first, never gonna fucking forget him, okay? This originally got a 4.25 on the Spice rating scale for me, with very graphic language, with very graphic sexual content, oral and penetration sex scenes described in graphic detail, and we have a first-time experience in this because everything he does to Sadie, everything, he is her first for. Everything. And they are awesome, they are intense, they are slow, and they are everything. They are tingling, they are mind-numbing, and I'm just, I'm all about it. I fucking love it. We also experience varying degrees of BDSM practices such as collaring, spanking, small whippings, gagging, and training toys. So a lot of fun stuff in this, a lot of fun tricks. I originally read this through Audible. I got the audiobook version, and it was narrated by Wen Ross, which was awesome. He's one of my faves. Highly recommend the audiobook. I've never physically read the book, but I have listened to the audio and I had a really good time with it. A few things that I really think worked in this book, besides the fact that it was a first for me. It's just like blazoned in my mind. I really found Sadie's internal monologue to be very relatable, as well as Casimir's. He seemed, for as alpha holish as he was very stable throughout the entire of the book. There's not a lot of crazy moments. Even when he finds out there's a hiccup, it's still very smooth. He puts everything together. He's very calculated. He's very focused. And I really like that in a hero, a very focused hero who has a goal in mind and he achieves it. No matter what hurdles come into play, he always seems to achieve the goal. And sometimes the goals do modify, and then they're to our benefit, for sure. I had a very, very good time with this one, and if you pick this up, I think you guys will too. He's my first, and I don't regret him. What girl can say that? Actually, a lot of us can, but I love that I can say that. So I had such a good time with Casimir that I decided to pick up his brother. The Brotswa's Bride by Jane Henry. This is the second installment to the Wicked Dom series, and this is Damien. Let me just tell you about Damien, okay? Oh my God, he's amazing. So Damien is also Brotswa Mafia as well. We have Captor Captive, Outsider to Mafia, Tattooed Hero, BDSM themes, dubious consent, and multiple acts of violence. So Damien, through multiple scenarios and circumstances, has become the pecan of his Brotswa Mafia chapter. And so he is the head guy in fucking charge. Well, their accounts get hacked by this woman named Kalina. And he is not about that life. He's like, yeah, fuck off. Not happening. Not happening. So he takes upon himself to go rectify the situation and go kidnap Kalina, who happens to be in a mental institution. Now, what he doesn't realize about Kalina is that she has a twin sister, because they believe the twin sister has died in a car accident years ago. But she didn't. Kalina's sister, Larissa, learns about what Kalina's done and switches her places. So because she knows Damien is going to come after her. So when Damien comes to grab her, he is actually grabbing Larissa, thinking it is Kalina. So Larissa puts on this ruse that she's this crazy person and she's kind of not all there. And Damien sees right fucking through it. He became the boss for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. He became a boss for a fucking reason. And this cat and mouse back and forth, will they, won't they, fall in love kind of romance starts to take off, and it is a great fucking time. This one got a 5 on the Chili Peppers for me. Dubious consent, graphic description of oral sex scenes. This has a blowjob scene that lives rent-free in my mind. Oh my God. It was an FTD bank back in 2022 when I first read it. Oh my God, I still love it. I still fucking love it. It involves a belt. It involves a lot of fun stuff. Let's just put it that way. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Very, very vivid BDSM scenes with emphasis on sadism, because Damien is a sadist by choice and also by nature. He thoroughly enjoys the fact that he enjoys inflicting pain on others, and he's very, very well satisfied with that experience. There's also a lot of degrading sexualized scenes, so if you are looking for a degrading kind of kink in your mafia, here you go. And we also get to use a lot of sex toys in this one, and we bring out a Sibian. And if you bring out a Sibian, it's a fucking party, guys. It's all right, it is. Straight up party time. We also got a remote vibrator, and we show some caging as well. So a lot of fun goodies in this one. Some stuff that really worked in this, again, was the audiobook. I listened to this on audiobook, but this one was a dual narration with Wen Russ and Kay Kennicott. A golden fucking duo, just saying, fucking brilliant. The character development is really strong throughout. We get a lot of great internal monologues on both character sides. Jane Henry does really good with her internal monologues, giving us parts of the story that we need to convey it, but still allowing the story to tell itself through actions and dialogue between the characters. So it's a very nice balanced effect in this book. Really, really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the fact that Damien utilized Kalina's skill set. Once he discovers what the fuck is going on, he realizes that Larissa is actually brilliant, and he acknowledges this and utilizes her. And I thought that was fucking dope. I just loved him for that. I loved him for it. It was fucking great. And we do have a double twist ending in this book, and it's a good time. It's a great time. This one definitely lives rent-free still in my head. It sits proudly displayed on my shelf next to Casimir because they are two of my favorites. And if you like this guy, you will have a good time. And you do not have to read this one to understand this one. This one has a really nice continuity factor that it gives you pretty much what you need from this book to read this one. However, this one will get spoiled if you read this one first. So. And to top it all off, because I just couldn't say no to these guys. I mean, seriously, come on. I couldn't say no to them. I picked a third one. Bratva's Captive. This is the third installment by the Wicked Dom series for Jane Henry's, which completes this series. And this is Maxim. He's our bearded giant. Yes, he is. So, Captor Captive, Bratva Mafia, Outsider Mafia, obviously tattooed hero. Yes. Abso-fucking-lutely. And we also feature a first time in this one as well, but we do have some triggers for PTSD, and this one really brings the leather, but it also brings the lace. So we get a nice balance act in this one. Maxim and Olena's story is a direct follow-up of Damien's. So you do have to read this one to read this one. So if you're looking for a clean sweep during a readathon, this is a great series to do because they read really fast and they do all tie in really, really well together. So Maxim is our enforcer, and he, although doesn't have a problem with his brothers kidnapping girls and training them and then giving them away, he's just not down for that. He's not. He's down for the arms dealing, the drug dealing. He's down for all the other shit. He's just not down for the girl stuff. You do the you, I'll just stick my own. And he has a girlfriend named Talia. Something happens to Maxim, and when he overcomes that issue, as a retaliation because of it, Talia is murdered. And this sets him into a tailspin. And because he is normally not for the girl side of the Bratva Mafia world money-making scheme, he's not thinking clearly. And he sees that this has worked in the past. So he's going to take a chance and do what his brothers do and kidnap the daughter of the rival Bratva boss that murdered his girlfriend. And that is where we encounter Olena. Olena was originally raised in the States but moved to Russia after the death of her mother. So she is not really privy to the life at all. She knows that her father is big in the mafia, but he keeps her out of it a lot. And by doing that, he pretty much shelters her from everything else in the world. So that's why this is kind of a loose outsider to mafia, because she understands what it is, but she has nothing to do with it, and she doesn't know really what is going on. She just knows it's organized crime. That's what she knows. And when Maxim collects her, it's not the first time she's been targeted because of who her father is, so she knows this game. And they start to play this game of back and forth. But because of their past traumas on both sides, the training that's involved just doesn't come off the same way and as smooth as it did with his previous brothers. So Maxim does what he does best. He just enforces. And this is done through spankings, which actually turns Olena on to the nth degree. And so they learn that because of their previous trauma, that the normal rules and regulations for this kind of situation do not apply. They have to think outside the box. So this is a really creative one. And with this creativity, we get the leather, and then we get the really soft, vanilla, smooth lace and satin of pure romance, because you really develop a hardcore, loving, nurturing relationship in this book. It's fantastic. I had such a good time with this. This one got 4 on the chili pepper scale. We do have an orgasm scene built off of spanking, which is dope. I loved it. It was fantastic. But these three, definitely, I highly recommend if you pick these up. I did do a full series review of all 3 of these books, and I'll link it right here for you guys so you can go check it out, where I go into in-depth of the entirety of the series. But just to recap, this one you can read by itself. You can read this one without reading Casimir's story, but you cannot read this one without reading this one. Enjoy my men. I do all the time. All right. So I gotta step away from my boys, or I'll just keep talking about them. So the next recommendation I have for you is another first for me. This is the first book I've ever read by this author, and this is J.T. Geisinger's Ruthless Creatures, the first installment to the Queens and Monsters series. This is Bratva Mafia, Outsider Mafia. We have extreme violence, minor BDSM themes, and very, very graphic language. If you're not a fan of the word cunt, don't read this book. But if you have no problem with that word, by all means, read it. It's used to the nth degree, and it's fucking brilliant. There is so much good dirty talk in this book. Oh, it's fucking amazing. This had one of the best lines of any Mafia Romance book that I've read to date. And when you read it, you will know which line I'm talking about. I don't have to say it because it's that spot on, it's that perfect, and you just fucking know. Because it's fucking delicious. Oh my God, it's great. But we follow Casimir and Natalie in this. Casimir is also known as Cage, that's his nickname, and we call Natalie Nat throughout the story. Natalie is engaged to David, and David disappeared about 5 years ago, and they've not heard hide or hair from him. But David was involved in some seedy kind of stuff, and Cage is sent to eliminate Natalie as a loose end because of it. So to do this, he literally buys the house right next door to her and stalks her, follows her, and he's also doing some side work by laundering money, which he does tell her. I mean, he's very open about it. He's a very open mafia member, okay? Very open. A letter is discovered in a security box, a security deposit box, and it contains a key that Natalie has no idea where this key goes to. And it opens up this puzzle and this kind of thrill factor element to the story that really has a huge plot moment for this story. So this story not only has plot, but it does have the romance, and I really, really enjoyed that combo because as we're figuring out this plot, we are developing this romance between Natalie and Cage. And it is hot, it is spicy, it is steamy, and it is fucking fun. Oh my God, it's just a fun one. It's so much fun. This book got a 4 on the spice scale from me. We have graphic scenes with graphic language, oral penetration scenes explicitly detailed. We do have use of toys that's explicitly detailed, and that's a really fun scene. Super, super fun. I mean, Natalie's been not celibate, but she hasn't been with anybody since David. So you know she's got some toys in her bedside table drawer, and Cage uses every fucking one of them. They are your friends, not your enemies. That's why I fucking love this man. I love him. And we also do have some minor BDSM thrown in there as well. What worked in this book that I really want to emphasize is the plot. It was strong. It was an active part of the story. So this is definitely romance and story. You take the romance out, you've got a fucking kick-ass story. You take the story out, you got some great fucking smut and romance. You put these things together, you got fucking gold, baby, okay? You got gold, and it is amazing, and it's worth every single fucking page. Oh my God, it's amazing. And this also gave me one of the best side characters of the year in 2022, and that was Sloane. Oh my God, she's your ride or die. Fucking love that bitch. Love her, fucking love her. Sign me the fuck up, okay? We've got some really good twists, and we've got a fantastic grovel. Oh, the grovel in this. Cage does a lot of things well. He talks dirty well, he fucks well, he kills well, and he grovels better than all of those. It's fucking to die for. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good, guys. Oh, it's fantastic. Yes, yes. The next recommendation I have for you is a popular one over here on BookTube. She's a genius, and I had a great fucking time with this book, and this is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, the first installment to the Brutal Birthright series. This is Callum and Aida's story. We feature Italian-Irish mafia in this, enemies to lovers, arranged marriage, we have dubious consent, and we have if you have a dark sense of humor, the acts of violence in this are hilarious. But there are acts of violence, but they have a comedic twist. if you like dark sense of humor, like I do. So I was rolling with this book. So Aida is the youngest and only daughter of the Italian mafia boss Enzo Gallos. And Callum is the eldest and only son of Fergus Griffin of the Irish mafia. They're having Callum's family's having a party, and Enzo's family decides to crash it. Well, Aida ends up in the library, and somehow this bitch sets this thing on fire. She runs away. They don't get away with it because Callum decides to get some retribution. And that retribution is towards one of the younger brothers of the Gallows clan. And it's pretty fucking violent. It's pretty life-destroying, actually. And instead of going to war over a petty squabble that, young people just didn't decide to use their heads, they decided to, act first, ask questions later, the fathers decide to have a sit down and they say, hey, you know what? We don't feel like having a nice bloody battle. We don't want to go to the mattresses. We don't want to do this shit. So you know what's happening? We're not going to the mattresses. You two fuckers are, because you're getting hitched. Merry fucking Christmas. We'll see you at the altar. Yeah. And this starts off this fucking banter and awesome and amazing fucking relationship, because the banter between Aida and Callum is so fucking brilliant. I mean, the stuff they do to each other, it shouldn't be funny, but the way Lark writes her book, it's so serious and it's so comical at the same time. You're just like, I don't know if I should be shocked or I should be laughing, because there's a couple scenes in here. Strawberry scene, don't even get me started. God damn it, I will lose my shit. I lost my shit when I read it, and then I lost my shit even more when I saw the retribution for it, because it is always back and forth, back and forth. They are one-upping each other every chance they fucking get. And through this one-upping and through this banter that is kind of violent and sometimes almost lethal, they start to develop this really weird sense of trust and understanding of each other. And it's so crazy the way Lark formulates this relationship, but it works so fucking well. I had such a good time with this book. One of my favorite things in romance books is laughing and being turned on at the same time. And I was laughing and turned on all at the same time the entirety of this fucking book, because this book got a 3.75 on the Chili Peppers. We have some minor BDSM themes, but we use whatever the fuck is going around at the time. So it's a very casual kind of BDSM, which I really enjoyed. We have multiple locations, one being a limo. Hello. That is in my must try one day book, because that thing was dope. Okay. Holy shit. I loved it. But the banter in this is a very dialogue heavy book. And I fucking love that their relationship was really formed through the dialogue that balanced and complemented the actions that was going on. It was just fucking on point. Sophie Lark fucking nailed it with this. It was such a great fucking time. I don't know a single person who has read this book that didn't like it and did not immediately want to continue on with the series. It is such a great time. And she recently just got picked up to be regularly published. So these are all getting reprinted covers. So we don't get the sexy men anymore, which is depressing. But it's okay, because her writing literally is paying her bills. And it should be, because she's a fucking genius with her writing. I had such a great time with this, and I know you will too if you pick it up. The last recommendation I have for you is this guy. This is Cole by Tijan. Now, I was not the biggest fan of this book because of the way I walked into it. I believed that this was a standalone, and it technically is a standalone, but it does reference characters from another book, and you don't actually get spoiled for what happens in said book. You just get spoiled for the HEA. So if you're okay with that, it's fine, but it is marketed as a standalone. It's not marketed in a series. And I did listen to this one on audiobook, which I don't think benefited it very much. So I do not recommend the audiobook on this, but I do believe that this book will work for some people, because not only do we have Italian Mafia in this, it also features Outsider to Mafia. And we follow Addison and Cole. This story has a really unique component to it. You see, Addison is a widow who is haunted by the memory of her dead husband. And she uses the inheritance that she gained from his death to move out of that home into like this elite apartment complex. I mean, it is like, I think something like $250,000 a month in rent. It's an astronomically large fucking number for rent. The security is on point, private carport, you get a whole fucking floor to yourself. The training facilities in this thing is amazing. This thing is state of the fucking art. But there's just something fucking off about it. Not in a bad way, just in a very, there's another layer going on. But Addison just doesn't, she acknowledges it, but she doesn't really give a shit either. And she just kind of goes on with her life. But there's a really neat thing about this apartment is that nobody in the apartment complex knows who the landlord is. They pay the fucker, but they have no idea who he is. And so we have this mystery element that starts to reveal itself in a very slow pattern way. This story really works with the revelations. I felt throughout the book that nothing was really happening. Nothing was really interesting me. Nothing was really keeping me going. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. And then there's a moment where it flips and everything that I thought wasn't really interesting, wasn't really sticking, wasn't really keeping my interest. Obviously it fucking was, because when this twist happens, all that shit comes right out of fucking left field and you're like, what? The fuck, what? Holy shit. Now, that is a very distant part in the book. I think you're almost at like 75% when that happens. But when it happens, you are there. You were on it. You were sitting on the edge of your seat and you're like, what the fuck's happening next? What's going on? What's going on? Who's doing what? Who, where, what, who, that whoa. It's all over the fucking place. So Tijan, I don't know if this is a normal technique for her. This is the very first book I've ever read by her. And so far it's the only one I've read by her. So I don't know if this is a writing technique for her, but this was fucking dope because this genuine came out of left field because I didn't feel a damn thing was really happening that was super exciting, super interesting really at all. But then all of a sudden, all this shit that I read before came flying back and all these little pieces started to click. And you're just like, holy fuck me, what? No. Oh my God, it was awesome. The revelations in this really fucking cinched this book for me, and it gave me something to hold on to, which I did understand and I did really enjoy. The spice rating I gave on this one, I think I gave a 2 chili peppers. I believe I gave it a 2 chili peppers. Nothing super hot or super exciting in the sex department. It's really in this thriller factor of this book. So one of the things I enjoy about this book is that because Addison doesn't really seem to know what's going on most of the time, I feel like this, out of all of these installments, has the most authentic feel for a mafia girlfriend wife. They don't know anything, they're not involved, but yet everything seems to circle around them. They do know, but they don't know at the same time. So you get this like really cloak and dagger feel, and it's really represented through Addison's character of kind of what she picks up and what she doesn't pick up, while you as the reader, what you pick up and what you don't actually pick up until the big reveal happens and you're just like, holy shit, what? Oh my God. It was a good time. I did not give this the highest score. I only gave this 3 stars originally because it took so long to get there. And the audiobook did not work for me. I do not recommend the audiobook. Most of this book is primarily from Addison's point of view, and the narrator that I got, she did a fine job, but her voice sounded so young. So for the topics brought up in these books and just the scenarios and the scenes, I felt like a 12-year-old girl was saying this, and it was very, very young for the subject material of what was going on in this book. So I do not recommend the audiobook, but I believe if you physically read this book, you will enjoy it a lot more than I did originally. I did like this author's writing enough that I actually picked up some other books by her to give her another shot, because I've had this experience where audiobook didn't work and the author ended up working for me if I physically read the books. Sometimes this just happens. So I just want to make you aware that that's what happened with me. Those are all of my Mafia recommendations I have for you guys right now. If you are taking part in the Mafia Romance Readathon starting on May 4th of May 4th, 2023, any one of these recs will work for the host recommendation prompt. So let me know if you pick one up. And if you're not taking part in that readathon and you're finding this after that readathon is happening and you're just dying for some Mafia Romance, let me know if you pick up any of these and if you enjoy them as much as I did. So until then, I will see you guys all soon with another video. Bye, guys.